Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Living Life Naturally podcast. And today I have with me Maria Grande. She's a qualified mediator and divorce coach, and she's got 18 years of experience in family law and is the founder of Absolute Dispute Resolution. She is well known for her sympathetic and empathetic approach, whether she's conducting mediation or coaching, while ensuring her clients have a safe, neutral, and calm setting to express themselves. And she also has a lot of experience, not just in family law and but civil litigation. This allows her to conduct mediations and coaching very proficiently with the intent to resolve issues in dispute, or coaching her clients through the best way to deal with emotional, financial, and legal aspects of separation and divorce. She's very proficient at the mediation, the negotiation, and the coaching of all facets of separation and divorce, from separation agreements to parenting plans to dealing with financial factors of divorce, all the way to coaching clients on how to navigate the stresses of preparing for and attending court, as well as emotional support required during this very overwhelming time. And she, of course, comprehends the intricacies and emotions concerning the negotiation, the sensitive and private issues surrounding separation and divorce, and also dealing with the economic importance of divorce. But she is passionate about ending the stigma that surrounds separation and divorce, and works hard to support families to resolve their conflicts in a less stressful, less costly, and less time-consuming manner. And she finds it to be very rewarding when she can assist her clients in restoring stability and harmony in their lives. So welcome today, Marian. It's great to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here today.
And this is kind of a little different topic for us on our podcast today. We've talked about people and relationships when they get into the middle part of their life, but you deal with people from a younger age all the way up to an older age, correct?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. It's from young all the way up to people that have been married for 60 years.
Mm-hmm. And how do you actually empower people that are going through this separation or even a divorce?
So I help people get their voice back. A lot of times in these situations, sometimes people, just to keep the waters calm, won't speak up, won't say what's really on their mind. If they're unhappy, they won't speak up. If they're in a toxic relationship, even more so. So I'm helping people get their voice back, speak up, and resolve things in a less controversial or adversarial way.
So I have worked in the law field myself for 32 years. So I've not done a whole lot of family law, but I fully understand when we get into litigation how very, very stressful that is for people. So do you try as much as possible to settle, and obviously you do the mediations prior to actually going through the divorce process?
Yeah, that's my goal, is to get clients into mediation, sit at a table, have an open discussion, go through each issue and dispute independently, resolve it, negotiate, and come to some sort of, resolution, and then put that in writing. So definitely, court for me should be a last resort. It's only that if mediation doesn't work, or at that point, I would suggest that they seek out a lawyer and probably bring an application through the court.
Yeah, I think when people first get started, there's a lot of anger and hurt there, and a lot of them really kind of want payback with their spouse or significant other. And I'm assuming then that you coach people around that area to help them to see the pros and the cons of doing something like this.
Yeah, so the coaching aspect of what I do deals with the emotional, deals with what to expect going through this process, deals with financial aspects, legal aspects. It's a little bit of everything. And each client of mine has different needs when it comes to coaching. So we support those needs. It doesn't matter where it is, as long as it's like within the divorce process. But what I'm really trying to say is no two people are alike. Someone may need more help, with financial, working out a budget, moving forward. Some people really just need that emotional support. So sometimes it comprises all three, sometimes two, sometimes one. So, but the coaching is very important. It helps you prepare. I help a lot of clients who are still in relationships. I help them with exit plans, things like that, how to bring up the conversation of a separation with their spouse. They're afraid at that point. They don't know how the other person will take it. They don't know what to say. They feel lost, and they really don't know what the first step is. So we help with all that. And like I said, because divorce is so overwhelming, most of my clients do need the emotional support as well. And we're happy to provide that.
So do you ever find that having coached people when they even come to you thinking about divorce or separation, have you ever been able to coach them to the point of realizing that, hey, this is still worth trying to work on and having successful reunification?
Usually by the time people contact me, they're at the point where they're ready to separate. I have had a few instances where people, more one party over the other, wants to continue trying. The other party's usually pretty much done at that point. And then I do have other associates that I can refer them to if they're looking to repair the relationship.
And do you find that when you're coaching with people, so women come in and they're probably at that point feeling totally disempowered, and especially if they've been in an abusive relationship, they have no self-esteem left. So do you work with people to help them rebuild and empower them? And especially women, I'm thinking of, since that's mostly my audience.
Yeah, no, definitely. We have specific exercises. We have a 2-week program that gets people into the right mindset to move forward and really discover who they are and what they want for themselves moving forward. Because along with some people losing their voice, they lose a sense of who they really are and what they want, right? They're so busy being a mom or a wife that they don't really have time. They don't really know what their dream is, or they don't have time to follow their dream, right? Some people would like to go back to school. Some people have a passion they want to grow, but I find that sometimes that kind of gets lost, but we help people get that back.
That's really important in my mind, because especially with the women I deal with that hit that point, but yet you see them at every age, but especially people maybe 35 to 55, they have lost sight of who they are and what it was all about. And even if they've had a marriage that was really not bad in the beginning, they tend to get so wrapped up in family that they're losing sight of what their dreams are and what their goals are. So does your course help them to find that?
Yes. So we have specific exercises we go through. We go through journaling and mindfulness and things like that. And the goal is that if you're coaching with us, by the time you've reached the end, so your divorce, you should have a good foundation to stand on your own.
So what has made you so passionate about doing this kind of work?
I just see so many people unhappy, people that are in toxic relationships and that are afraid to leave. Some because they don't know what's waiting for them. Some because they've always relied on somebody else, whether it be financially or things to do, you know, around the home, things like that. So I think it's really important. And I feel very strongly about ending the stigma around divorce. I think that's a lot of the problem why women don't leave abusive relationships, is because there's this stigma, this dark cloud over them, that they're thinking it's like a dirty secret. They don't want other people to know. And I see it day in and day out, and it's so heartbreaking. So I don't want people to feel cornered, that they have to stay in that kind of a relationship because someone else is being judgmental, and most likely someone who hasn't gone through it. You know, once you've gone through it, you really tend to understand where that person is.
Yes.
So I think that's really, really important. And I know a lot of people, you know, I see it all the time, you know, on social media and things like that, where people are putting negative comments about divorcing and you know, things like that. And that's just making those people who are in a really bad situation reconsider leaving and staying in an abusive relationship because of all this negativity surrounding it. So I think it's really important that people realize that if they're in a bad situation, they don't have to stay in that situation. There is a way out, and there is a way to get your life back. So I think that's really important for people to know.
It's very interesting when you think here we are in 2022, you'd think by now that a lot of that stigma had gone away and people would be more accepting, but I agree with you, there's still a lot of judgment that goes on around all of that.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that, you know, like you said, we're in 2022, and really I don't feel like that should go on anymore. I think we've learned a lot. Anyone who's watching, who's been in an abusive relationship has gotten out, understands what I'm trying to say. And I hope that my message to those who are in a negative relationship, toxic, you know, living with a narcissist, in abusive, you know, relationship, whether it's physical, sexual, verbal abuse, it's all abuse. And you have the right to be happy, regardless of what people think.
Yes. And so many, I think, especially women, feel that they don't have that right.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, so much negative talk that goes into a marriage that it beats them down. But yet, I love to see women come into their power and know who they are, because it can really be a life changer for them.
Yeah. And divorce is very overwhelming. The whole process, it's less overwhelming if you do it and resolve it through mediation, 100%. I know people who have been in court for over 10 years and have paid, you know, over $150,000 to the system, and really for nothing by the time they're done in court. I mean, their kids are all grown up adults anyways, and they've lived that time in such misery. They were unhappy in the marriage, and now another 10 years dealing with the person who you were unhappy with, or the person who was abusive, and now you're having to deal with them day in and day out in court. So it's mentally draining, you know, not to mention financially. But that's why I think mediation is the way to go. You know, it's not suitable for all cases, and I realize that, but a good portion of the cases should be handled through mediation.
So there may be a few people that are listening that don't understand what a mediation is. Can you explain that to them?
Yeah, so it's a neutral third party who's a professional. So I'm an accredited family mediator. We would meet with both parties and we would discuss the issues openly. and we would help the parties negotiate and facilitate a resolution that both parties are happy with.
And the one thing that I like about mediation is that both parties get a chance to meet with you separately and discuss if they want to, without feeling so cornered, having to discuss everything between the three of you, or however many people would be there. So it is a great avenue for people, and definitely a much cheaper option to get something settled at mediation. So I would really encourage people to, you know, if they're struggling in this area, to contact somebody like you that can help them. I'm assuming that you can do these mediations virtually.
Yes, we do them in person and virtually. I do mediations right across Canada except Quebec. And, you know, I find it's in a lot of my cases, after the process is all done, I've had quite a few people say, wow, you know, I didn't think we would resolve that. And it's gotten resolved. We just have to get there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So what advice would you give to women who are in an abusive relationship, whether it's emotional, physical, verbal, however the abuse is going on? You say that you teach people how to have an exit strategy. How would you coach them around that? Because I know that those women are very scared and are really afraid to do anything or even come forward. So what would your tips be for women like that?
Yeah, so we would work with them to create an exit plan, start saving money on your own in a separate account that your spouse does not know about, get a credit card in your name alone, things like that. You know, have like a suitcase hidden in the closet somewhere with a few essentials for you and your kids, so that when the time is right and you're able to leave, you can. And it's really important that when you're planning an exit plan and you're implementing it, that you have the support behind you. That's really important.
Yeah, I'm sure. And do you find that some people come to you and they have no support system?
I do, unfortunately. Yeah. Some people don't have family that they can count on, or don't have friends that they can count on, and they don't know what to do. They're completely lost and scared, overwhelmed, you know, and they don't know where to go. So, and, you know, and our website also offers a lot of resources that people can, you know, different websites and places that can help you as well. So I definitely urge people to check that out.
Yeah. And then I'm assuming when an exit strategy is put in place, you help to place them where they need to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can help get you into a place that you need to be. There's financial resources that can help. So I urge people in that situation to check out our resource page on our website. And that will give you a lot of information as well.
I love the way that our society at the moment, I noticed last year they started having more television shows around domestic violence. And although they can be very hard to watch, I think that they're very, very helpful resources for people, just to realize there is hope and there is help out there, because I think that they lose sight of that. And just, I think working with somebody like you, or even a phone call to you, giving them hope, gives them something to hold on to.
Yeah, definitely. Keeping the faith is really important. Not feeling that this is it, you know, that's the scary part, right? We don't know what's behind door number 2, but, you know, we need to keep positive and keep believing. And with the right support and the right resources, people can get through it and they will come out stronger. But yeah, definitely there's many shelters for women that we have listed on our website as well, also for men. And, you know, it's worth it to check it out, see what, you know, their policy is, and maybe you need to be put on a waiting list. Maybe now's a good time to do that, so that when a spot is open, you're ready to make that move.
And what's the percentage of men versus women that are in toxic situations?
I don't know an exact statistic, so I don't want to misquote or anything, but I know that women, it's higher for women for some reason than it is for men, although there are men that have come to me and have been in an abusive relationship, you know? So I'm not going to say it's an even split. I don't feel that it is. I feel it's higher that women are abused than men, but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I've never looked anything like that up, but I would assume that the women are on the higher end than the men.
Yeah.
Maybe not in reality. I mean, maybe there's a lot more men that just won't ever come forward, because that must be they must feel very embarrassed and ashamed to think that they don't have control.
Yes, yeah. I'm sure there's a lot of men who are being abused that have not come forward to family and friends, and, you know, maybe they feel that it'll emasculate them. I'm not sure, but there's help for men too. There are resources to help men as well. And I think that's important for everybody to realize. It's not just women, and there's help for both.
Now, do you have any tips as we're wrapping up that would help to empower people? There are so maybe one or two specific things that you have people do that helps them to get their power back?
Yeah, you know, one thing I find that helps people a lot is journaling, whether it's a gratitude journal or how you're feeling that day, so you can look back and reflect. I find that I recommend yoga to a lot of my clients or meditation, and that really helps them, right? It gives them strength, mental strength. I'm talking about mental strength. I think that's really important. Daily affirmations is another thing that a lot of my clients do that really helps them. But really, I think the biggest thing is for people to realize that this is not the end of the road. There is much more beyond. And what seems like an absolutely horrible situation today, you know, next year you may look back and say, wow, how did I get through that? And you don't even know how you did it, but you did it. You find the strength within you to do what you need to do.
Well, I really appreciate you coming on with us. This is a really hard topic for a lot of people to get their head around. And we know that if you're in that situation, it's really a hard step to move forward and take that first step toward really what ultimately becomes your freedom. And I'm sure you see that a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
So where can people find you?
Our website is www.absolutedisputeresolution.com.
And I will certainly put that in the show notes. And I hope that anybody that's in this situation thinking about it, that they check out the wonderful resources that you've got on there. I think it'd be very helpful for them. And as somebody who, it's so many years ago since I went through anything like this, but for me, I know how scary it was. and I put it off when I really should have done something a year and a half before. So I would say to people, don't put it off. Look at resources like you've got, take that first step, because when you do, even though it's a hard process, you just feel so freed up and so much happier.
Yeah, you really do. It's you can breathe a sigh of relief. That's what it feels like. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Marian. I appreciate you being on and all of your tips and wisdom. And I hope that people check it out. And I hope that you'll get some people who will gravitate toward you and come into your practice. I would really encourage people to do that.
Thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you for having me today.